Freedom in Economics is starting a new weekly perspective that is launched on YouTube to keep you informed of issues that are dealing with your individual liberty and free market ideas. So I thought I'd start it out by talking about where I was this last week out in Washington, D.C. I was attending the Conservative Political Action Conference, otherwise known as CPAC. Now, I had been there in the past, but this year was very interesting to me because there was this dynamic that took place on the floor of the Marriott Ballroom between this old establishment conservative base and this youthful pro-libertarian conservative base. Now, I think that pro-libertarian conservative base is pretty much representing the ideas of the Tea Party, the principles of individual liberty and limited government. And I see all these presidential hopefuls like Donald Trump, who made a special appearance, try to cater to that crowd of Tea Partiers. But I really question some of these guys, especially the ones that were in office in 2008, the people that voted for the Wall Street bailouts. I also question some of these guys about their thoughts on centralized economic planning. You see, the Federal Reserve has pumped so much money into our economy that we will eventually be taxed indirectly. What I mean by that is the Federal Reserve is controlling our money supply. And as it increases that money supply, there are more goods chasing, or more money chasing our goods that are in our economy, and therefore the prices will eventually rise. And that really works as an indirect tax on the American people. The Federal Reserve doesn't have any constitutional authority to do this. In fact, the Constitution in Article 1, Section 8 grants that authority to the Congress to coin more money and regulate the value thereof. But in 1913, under President Woodrow Wilson, the United States subdelegated that task to a private banking institution. Of course, Jefferson warned of the issues and the threats that would come if we ever gave that power to a private bank. See, when prices for gasoline, tuition, and health care, and food, and every other consumer good goes up, we essentially have our money just taken from us without any vote or any representation out in Washington, D.C. So as I see it, it's very important that the next president of the United States, and especially the one that emerges from the Republican primaries, understands the threats of centralized economic planning. And I only see two current presidential hopefuls that really do understand that, and that's Ron Paul and Michelle Bachmann. Both of those politicians have been very critical of the actions by the Federal Reserve in the past couple of years. I would encourage everyone to stand behind these politicians and to learn more about how that affects your personal budget in your personal life. Well, that's all I have for this week. I want you to remember that your voices should be heard in Washington, D.C., and you should always celebrate your freedoms in this country.